Welcome to the absolutely insane garage of my friend 458 Destroyer. Now, I've been out to visit before, but things have changed. There are new cars in the collection, and today I'm going to experience a Ferrari that I've missed out on. Now, here in the garage, there are the JDM cars, the R33s, R34s, R35s, the supercars all around me at the moment, the Nth Moto Viper, the Lexus LFA Nürburgring, the Huracans. We've also got, though, the line here of Ferraris, and my word, is this a special line. Now, we're about to grab the keys to 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 of the cars to go out for a drive. Today, here with 458 Destroyer, is going to be a good one. As you know, I'm a bit of a fan of my Ferraris at the moment. In the garage, I've got my SF90 Stradale and recently took delivery of the 296 GTS. Well, I also have some news today on the Purosangue. That car is going to be here sooner than we think. Now, when it comes to epic Ferrari lineups, look at this. The SF90, Portofino, 458 Speciale, 812 Competizione, 296 GTB, 812 GTS, 599 GTO, F40 and the LaFerrari here in the collection. This is absolute dreamland. Before I show you what I'm about to be driving, a quick update on the collection, because there are some new cars here. The R8 GT, the Superleggera, the BAC Mono over there. I went out before in the Type S. I think the ZR1 is new. A couple of other cars have changed and swapped around a little bit, but the garage has a new layout, so I'm just getting my bearings, having been here a few times before. Today, though, is about one of these. But I've spoken a few times about a certain car. The 812 Superfast and the 812 GTS, a car that I absolutely love. 6.5 litre V12, in the GTS, the open roof experience, the whole setup, the front mid-engined, 12-cylinder configuration, 2-seat GT, Grand Tourer. I regret not buying an 812 Superfast, and I certainly regret not completing my order for an 812 GTS. But today is not actually about this. It's going to be about 458 Destroyer's new 812 Competizione. I'm about to drive in this thing, and I can tell you right now, it's going to be really quite cool, because not only that, but we're going to be following on the road the LaFerrari. This thing is an absolute monster, and I have the key for it right here. Today, driving the 812 Competizione. This car in the black paint with the orange and silver stripe. In fact, check out the interior that complements that exterior contrast colour. Look at this. 458 Destroyer, the quilted stitching in the centre of those orange leather seats. But we're going to get this started, hand-painted Scuderia shields as well on the flanks, because I think we're all itching to go out for a drive, and we can talk more about it when we're on the road. It's time to pull out the cars. McLaren 720 coming up first. Let's see if we can take a listen to the startup of this beast. That is absolutely ridiculous. That thing is so loud, heavily modified, big power. Mr. Alex Choi is at the wheel of the BAC Mono for today's drive. That thing's crazy. Absolutely crazy, the sound of the gearbox on it. 296 GTB, we've got Tyler, Wildcat at the wheel. Pretty cool group of people out here today. That not so standard sounds epic, to be honest. Sounds absolutely epic. We'll hear more of that out on the road. Oh, let me dive out of the way. Watch out for the car. This thing on the cold start is insane. What a sound, what a sound. Out rolls the SF90. This is looking like quite the drive. R8 coming, sheepy R8. And then I think we're gonna have the Speciale as well. Like, what's gonna come out first? Gotta wait a second to see. This is wild right now, all the cars. Starting, rolling, GT2 RS as well. I didn't realize that was heading out. Almost envious of the LFA Nürburgring. My time will come to experience that again, hopefully in the future. And then, yep, we've got the Speciale now coming through. This is so cool right now. This is so cool. All the different cars. I suppose I should go and get this started and pull this out. I think that was the F40. Oh, Austin from Valvetronic is driving the F40. Oh, wow. That's wild. That is wild. Out goes the F40. Listen to that. So good. LaFerrari 812 Comp. Let's gear up. That sounds good. That sounds and looks so good. Rosso F1 2007, the multi-layer red paint on this car is stunningly beautiful. Always been a big fan of that. Lucky to drive it once upon a time. The F40 is just popping away. Right, I better go get the comp. Now we've jumped straight in at the deep end. This has all happened in the blink of an eye, but we're following an F40 down twisty roads. And my goodness, does that thing sound absolutely insane. In fact, I want to pop the window down for a second because the burbles out of it are ridiculous. So we're in race, faster shifts, and I'm intrigued to get more of a sense of what this is like since I first drove an 812 Comp in Switzerland, where let's just say you can't have so much fun with it. I've been back at the wheel of the F12 TDF, which absolutely blew me away. This, however, is the latest and greatest in this lineage of limited series V12 Ferraris, which I make no secret of absolutely loving. It makes no sense that at this moment in time, I don't currently own a V12 Ferrari at all until the Purosangue is here, which, like I say, we will touch a little bit more on later. This is ridiculous right now. I just feel like you jump into a car like this and you feel right at home with it. Of course, a very different proposition for Austin at the wheel of the F40 in front, which is significantly more technically challenging in comparison, especially when you haven't driven one before. Oh, the sound of this engine is just a sweet symphony, up to 9,000 RPM. And with the comfort still, with the usability, you know, there's a ton of space in the back, luggage space, comfortable ride, soft suspension. Arguably that's what detracts a touch from the experience of driving the car. Those downshifts are absolutely ballistic. Where are we going? This is ridiculous. This is absolutely insane. So let's touch on the main topic. Why did I miss out on one? Well, as you probably know, when it comes to a limited series car like this, 999 Competizione Coupes, 599 Competizione Apertas, as I've actually experienced with my friend David Lee, Ferrari collector David Lee, when he took delivery of his not all that long ago. The simple fact is, there are a lot of VIP Ferrari collectors in the world. The list of people, if you narrow it down to 1,600 customers, all own a lot of very nice Ferraris, including 812 Superfasts and 812 GTSs. Don't get me wrong, I would have loved to have had a GTS, but I couldn't do both the SF90 and the GTS. And at the time I decided to go ahead with the SF90 because I was fascinated by the tech and I wanted to buy a new two-seat V8 Ferrari. That's my era of Ferrari. And I believe that there are going to be other opportunities in future. Oh, this is mega. This is absolutely mega right now. So the long story short is absolutely no option for somebody like me to be able to buy a Competizione at the time. I'd only had a couple of Ferraris and didn't have a nice garage collection of them. Although, I'm working on that to see what the future has in store. That's what we're going to have to find out about. For now, just enjoying this drive, really. Just enjoying the day out. And completely lost in dreamland. I'm completely lost. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just like, what is going on right now in this, following the F40, knowing that somewhere up the road, we also have the LaFerrari and the other cars in the convoy. Having got back into the swing of things a little bit more, and with a very open straight out in front of us, the F40 is off. I tell you one thing with the car, there's some licks of flames out the back of the exhaust on that thing, is that this is actually still surprisingly soft. They could have made the 812 Competizione a much rawer drive. The F12 TDF is a rawer car. It's more twitchy, more violent, more an assault on the senses, whereas this feels more like it could be the regular model. Obviously this is an improvement in technology, right? Cars have a wider breadth of ability in terms of having comfort at one end and more extreme experience at the other, and it's ballistically fast. You know, the gearbox and engine combination is absolutely heavenly. When you drop this down the gears and just get back on the throttle, it is ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous. But it doesn't have that extra edge, and I'm in two minds, because I'm a person who loves to buy a car that's extreme and still use it for everything, to go and drive tons of miles and to get out there and just do everything with it. So from that one point of view, it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But then it's also, as a limited series Ferrari, an investment, a collector's piece, a special occasion car. And we're about to have the F40. I'm not sure how much of the crackles and pops off the back of that thing you hear through the microphones. We have arrived, better late than never. The other guys have all parked up already. That was more cars for this drive than I was expecting when we started it earlier. I'm not complaining about that though. I'm not sure if this Camaro is with us or if he's just chilling. I guess we'll find out in a moment. But that was pretty crazy. The F40 has got lost. The F40 has gone slightly the wrong way. We were following until we figured to turn around. Anyway, we are here now, and I want to show you a bit more around the spec of this car. The F40 has made it, pulling in and joining us. And look at that thing in the sunshine. Amazing to think that's from the 80s. That car is now approaching 40 years old. Unbelievable. Still looks so cool. That's a big smile. That was a very big smile. And then we need to talk about this. The spec of the 812 Competizione. The black paint is actually called gloss piano black. It is as black as a paint can be. And then against that, you have the metallic of the stripe. This is spice orange, metallic orange, and then Sanu silver is the silver detail. And it was one of the livery options to have this slightly skewed stripe pattern, the narrower stripe on the driver's side, the wider stripe over on the passenger side, then complemented with the dream lines, which are what you see here around the exposed carbon, the exterior pinstripes, and of course also with the carbon fiber wheels, silver calipers which match with the silver rev counter dial inside, and the stripe going over the top of the back with these vortex generators, and no rear window. It's a camera and screen system inside for the rear view mirror. At the back, of course, finished with the same spice orange detailing and accents. And in fact, if I just grab the key very quickly, because in the boot of the car is where you have the specifications plaque. So it's always fun. Ooh, nice carbon fiber on the underside, that flash of orange of the seating areas, and then this rear parcel shelf lifts up, and that's where you have the details, the brake calipers in aluminio, the extra range specification options, the glossy piano black car paint down in that bottom special equipment section, then the asymmetrical longitudinal livery. Yes, it's quite detailed. You can be specific down to the millimeters of it all when you spec this kind of thing, which is all really quite cool what you can do. I love that. Makes for a very special, very personalized car, and I dream of one day being able, you have to give it a push like that, of one day being able to do a bespoke spec of a limited series Ferrari, because it's a very special thing to be able to do. And obviously inside, all of these details, heavily tinted, so it's quite dark in here today, and the silver cavallino on the seats, the silver rev counter, as I mentioned, in the very center of the display. The 812 Comp. It's such a cool thing. It's such a cool thing. The follow-up to the TDF and the GTO. Like it. This is a special lineup right now. Some very, very cool cars from 458 Destroyers collection. Austin, have you had fun?
Hi there. This is just the most ridiculous experience of my entire life, because the car, if you do anything incorrectly, your one shift is bad, the car hates you.
Yeah.
Okay, you gotta do everything perfectly. What's ringing at me? I don't know what's ringing. Headlights.
Something's on. Ooh, nice pop-ups. Do that again, do that again.
Yeah!
It definitely thinks something.
Keys in.
There we go.
I'm not a very, pristine Ferrari owner yet.
But you had a smile on your face the whole drive. The whole drive. Well, that very quickly went from 5 or 6 cars to, I believe, 11 cars on that drive. And it's a beautiful day. Could not ask for more at this time of year. Absolutely unreal. Now, I said we'd talk about the new V12 in the Shmeemobiles, the Purosangue. What is the news? The news is, the car's really soon. I'm going to share with you a picture of the body in white, my exact car. That was actually a few weeks ago. You can make of that as you will, but long story short, when I get back to the UK at the end of November, My Purosangue is going to be ready and waiting. The car is going to be there, and I've not yet revealed the specification of it. I appreciate that. That will have to come soon because it's really cool. And I've seen some pictures, so I just need to hold back a little bit longer, and I'm very, very happy. So hopefully if I can track one down, I can shoot something along those lines in the near future. It just got really, really, really windy, so I hope the audio hasn't completely blown out. We're probably going to go inside, grab some lunch before the drive continues later. And if I can, I want to follow the LaFerrari. I want to be behind the LaFerrari on the road. Keller's driving the McLaren.
Yes. Yes.
Burble tune engaged.
Yeah, I was told that there's a very special map for this car where if you let off, it sounds like World War X. So we'll see how it goes.
There's also a missing part of the steering wheel.
Yeah, I didn't need it. I just took it off.
Okay, fair. You got this.
Right.
Alex is just rocking the mono. Nice. Ladies and gentlemen, start up your engines. It's time to get back on the road. F40 is already ready to go. Comp is ready and waiting. What a beautiful afternoon for it. This could not be better. And yeah, experiencing this car. I'm going to try and get in behind the LaFerrari if we can for the next little stretch. That sounds like proper American muscle right there with all of the European flair. Let's hop in and get ready to head out. The LaF is heading through, we are following it, and I guess we're going to have the whole crew after that passing the F40 in an 812 Comp, following the LaFerrari. I've just noticed the plate, it's a LaF. Oh, this is so cool. This is so cool right now. I am just lost in dreamland. Right, let's get out of auto. Auto in here is a little bit too up through the gears. Get some temperature back into it. And go out and have a wild time in this little convoy. Good times. Whoo, sounds sweet. That also sounds sweet. The gunshots from Keller and the McLaren. Yes. I should say it's actually Leet LaF, which is quite fun. The way this thing revs, it could be louder. It could honestly be louder, but the way that it revs when you go up through the revs, it's just beautiful. It's just heavenly, absolutely heavenly. And then the downshifts, they're so fast, gunshot-like. Yeah. That is quite a cool view behind in the camera screen system. It's always just a slightly unusual perspective when you're looking like that, although we're following somebody who is definitely like, you ain't overtaking us. So it's a bit of a cruise at the moment with all of the cars. The view in the mirror, this is just silly. This is just absolutely silly. You can get to actually see quite a lot in there. Quality is great. Works well like that. I'm impressed by it. God, these things when you start going through the corners like this. Wow. The shifts. This is absolutely ridiculous. This car becomes an animal when it's ready to be awoken, just struggling with the light through the trees. My goodness. There may or may not have been some scientific testing, purely for testing purposes, to determine the performance differences between the LaFerrari and the 812 Competizione. And it's surprising because in a straight line at least, the LaF couldn't leave this car for dead. They actually stayed with one another, which was fascinating. As I just take it easy, meandering through these corners, with the LaF disappearing off ahead at the moment. It's funny. That's so cool. And the cracks from that exhaust. The gunshots. Warming up those tyres, guys. What a surreal day. We've got the SF90 Spider behind as well. I mean, this is just the stuff of dreams. This is absolute. The timing of that was perfect. It was like gunshot out the window and then boom. Absolute boom. Oh, this is crazy. What a place. Through the trees here, the twists and turns. LAF and 720 disappearing up ahead. Just enjoying the revs of this thing. Screams. There's no question it wakes up. This drive is just absolutely surreal. Honestly, there are very few words to really describe this experience. Knowing that I'm back behind the LaFerrari, I've got the SF90 behind me, F40, like driving an 812 Competizione, legendary Ferraris, legendary cars, and just actually getting to experience, as we go over a bit of new tarmac, what this car is like to drive in a little bit more anger, to finally let the car sing, let it scream a bit, have some fun. And there might be some more things I need to tell you about future Shmeemobile V12 Ferraris. We'll get to this. The cars are back inside, and as we probably should have expected, all completely covered in leaves. In fact, come down here, we even managed to pick up a pine cone. That pine cone has travelled at the intake of an 812 Competizione. We might even leave it there for the time being. Obviously, they are all going to need a proper clean afterwards, but I tell you what, for me, this car is so much about what lies underneath the bonnet, the hood, the engine, the 6.5 litre NA V12, and I think it would be wrong not to just open this up and take a very quick look and talk a bit more about this for a second. Of course, the V12 Purosangue coming to my garage very soon, but that will only be the first few years of Purosangue production. The first, I think, 3 years, about 1,500 cars a year, before they're going to introduce a hybrid power plant, and we'll find out more about that soon. But in here, if I can find the catch, I mean, look at this thing. Ferrari have an incredible knack of making their engines look amazing, but sitting right back behind the front axle. In fact, the center of the front wheels is about here. The whole engine sits behind it. And that gives it this supercar type feel, this supercar type poignancy to the drive, the steering, the nimbleness of it. Now, I do think that when they introduced the F12 TDF, which was pretty much claimed by everybody to be a seriously rowdy car, it was edgy. They probably said for this one, right, let's just dial it down a little bit. Let's make it a little bit more usable. And the end result is a car that is very usable, but is it as extreme as, say, the Speciale was when that launched as the limited series, you know, Ferrari model? Well, talking V12s, while I might regret that I didn't buy the 812 Superfast and the 812 GTS, and that particular car looks lovely, we thought this would be the end. I think a lot of us thought that the Purosangue could never have a V12 in it, and that the 812 would be the last one. Well, the reality is that the spy shots of the 812's successor and the cars that have been driving around, very confusingly with Roma-style camouflage on the front, but those have V12s. Any sound bites, it's very distinctly a naturally aspirated V12 sound. So, 2 + 2 here, it's quite likely we'll see one of those join the Shmeemobiles in the future. So do I regret not purchasing the 812s and perhaps ultimately have been maybe lucky enough to buy one of these? Of course, I'd have loved to have been in the situation to make it happen, and part of me wishes I had. However, I feel very lucky that I do have some extraordinary Ferraris in my garage, and there will be more to come in the future as well. Today, however, driving with all of these has been beyond epic. I mean, this lineup at this end, for me, it's Ferraris. I just think the recent cars, like the stuff you see here, is out of this world. Absolutely mega. And obviously only some of the cars from the collection I've been lucky to drive. The Type S, Paul Walker's GTR, the R34, an LFA, the LAF, the F40. I mean, it's ridiculous to say this, and I cannot thank 458 Destroyer enough for today's opportunity. For everyone who's been out here, we have enjoyed this so much. What a cool day, and what an amazing chance to drive this beast and really drive it. Oh, wow, that's been good. So thank you very much for your support, guys. I appreciate it an awful lot. So that's it for this time, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.